Hey y'all, pardon the lowered camera angle, but it will make sense in a minute. In the meantime, I'll squat forward. Let's do the plantar fascia ball foot release. And I wanted to give you the source material for this. It's this book called Anatomy Trains by Tom Myers. And on page 60 something, page 65 is basically where I sourced this exercise from. So we're going to work on the plantar fascia, but not just the plantar fascia, because the plantar fascia is a continuation of the long connective tissue plane that starts at the inside corners of the eyes, goes up over the top of the head, down along each side of the spine, across the hips, down through the hamstrings, down through the calves, and then hooks into the plantar fascia, the connective tissue, thick connective tissue band on the bottom of the foot. You'll notice my dogs coming in and out. Hopefully when I bring the BALL down, they won't take it from me. So, when working with connective tissue, you want to utilize a couple of principles. One is to use a mild to moderate intensity stress or pressure. Mild to moderate intensity, nothing that makes you hold your breath or clench your jaw or anything like that. So you can lean a mild to moderate intensity into it. And then time is a big factor. To do it for at least a couple of minutes. And because time and pressure are some of the things that help change and lengthen these sheets of fascia, these thick bands of connective tissue. We want to use that to our advantage. So we're going to start off first by standing up, and I'll make sure, can you see? I'm going to raise this up just a little bit. I'm going to stand up, and with the knees slightly bent, hinge forward at the hips and come into a forward fold. Now, if your low back is sensitive, keep your hands on your legs or your forearms on your legs to take weight out of the low back. Don't hurt yourself here. And as you tip the pelvis forward, a little feeling of sticking your booty out, you should start to feel it stretch into the hamstrings. And you want to get an idea of which side is tighter. So you can bend one knee, straighten the other. The straight leg will have more of a stretch. And then you can switch and get a sense for which one is a little tighter. This morning, my right side is a little tighter. So I'm going to do the right foot first. And you can come up from your forward fold. And then I'm going to come into doing this on the right foot first. So I'm going to set the ball down. You can use a tennis ball. This is a lacrosse ball. A golf ball will work. Just don't bruise yourself with the harder balls like the tennis ball or like the lacrosse ball and the tennis ball. You can even use the edge of a yoga block. The foam blocks don't work so well, but if you have like one of those bamboo or cork blocks, that'll work. So it's my right side that was tighter. I'm going to come stand over the ball a little bit and bring the ball just in front of my heel bone into the plantar fascia. So most of my weight is on the standing leg. Now, excuse me, I can sink weight into this leg that's on the ball. And I want to use the amount of pressure that gives me a good achy sensation. Is she right in the way? Okay, still visible, just barely. Just barely. Move your butt. Go on, go on. There you go. Dogs. And I'm going to stay here for about 2 minutes. If standing hurts your hips or your standing knee, you can do this in a chair. Oh, good, you can see the chair view from here. I can bring the ball into the same spot on a chair, and then to get more weight, I'm gonna lean my body weight into the knee. Oh, that actually works really nicely. Really easy on the standing hip. So I'm gonna do this point about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, holding a steady pressure. You wanna work kind of deeply and slowly without bouncing in and out of the pressure. Because remember, time is one of the things that deflects and stretches the connective tissue. As I hold the steady pressure for a while, I can feel the connective tissue gradually deforming and lengthening. And I can keep the same pressure, or I can add a little bit more pressure with my body weight. Cool. Stop panting on my soundtrack. And then releasing the pressure, take a pause from the pressure, take your foot off the ball. If you're doing it standing, you may already notice that your footprints are feeling a little differently. And then let's come in about midfoot. And you may wiggle around, to find the tighter zones. Oh my goodness. And when you're doing this second point, notice if you're lifting the toes, see if you can relax the foot. Let the foot melt onto the ball. Let the ball melt onto the foot. Breathing and staying really steady with your pressure. For about 2 minutes. I always use a timer when I do this, so it's real easy with this pressure to want to run away from it after about 15 seconds. So I'm keeping my attention in there and keeping really steady with the pressure. Even when I'm talking, especially when you're talking, the temptation to come in and out with the pressure is really high. I want to stay really steady, leaning into the ball. And then I'm going to slowly come out, take a little break, and then come in just behind the ball of the foot. And again, I can roll around a little to find the spot. That's kind of the tightest band right there. Ooh, and relax the toes again, relax the foot. Let the ball melt into the foot drape over, melting onto the ball. Breathing is always a good idea, and checking your breathing. Because if your breathing is tight and restrictive, you're pushing too hard. And that applies to most of life. Definitely applies to most of the moving arts, yoga, martial arts, meditation. I can feel it melting a little bit. I can keep the pressure the same, or I can lean a little inch more in. I'm showing 3 spots on each foot. You could do more spots between the front of the heel and the back of the ball of the foot. But I'm just showing 3 as a good minimum. And then slowly release the pressure. Bring the foot off and just check into your footprints first. You may have a real different sense of the earth from side to side. And you can even take a few steps around your space and see how it feels. Taking some steps. I'm deliberately avoiding the W-A-L-K word. And then let's come back and come check your forward fold again. Arching the low back, sticking the booty out, knees slightly bent. And as you come, well, I can already tell I'm further tipped forward than I was before. And then bend one knee and straighten the other. Yeah, my right hamstring is considerably looser than it was, and my forward fold is just like way easier than it was before. And slowly come back up. We got to do the other side. And I'm going to do the other side, the whole thing seated in the chair, because I kind of like it. I have two dogs staring at the B-A-L-L. You guys. So I'm bringing the ball just in front of the heel, and I'm going to lean the weight into it. For seated, I'm using the upper body weight. Holding this about 2 minutes. If you remember, or if you haven't done this, you can take a piece of saran wrap, just a little piece, and hold it between your finger pads and give it a steady stretch, just to pull it taut. Close your eyes and lean into that stretch without tearing it. Just hold it steady, pulling it in opposite directions. And you'll feel it gradually, very slowly release. That's what we're doing with this. And slowly release the pressure. Give a little pause. And come back in about midfoot. You might need to roll towards the big toe, towards the pinky toe to find a good spot. Ooh, there we go. Lean the appropriate weight in. Relax the toes, relax the heel, relax the foot. Relax the weight into the ball. Let the ball melt into the foot. Good dogs. And holding this again about 2 minutes. And slowly releasing weight from the ball. Take your foot off, give it a little pause. Let the blood flow back in. And then coming just behind the ball of the foot with the ball. You might need to roll a little to find a good taut band of tissue. And right there, notice if you're lifting your toes up, relax the toes, let the foot just completely relax into the ball, and then lean your weight. If you're standing, it's just shifting a little more weight towards that foot. If you're seated like this, you just lean your heart over that knee and resting the elbow onto the knee. And breathe. About 2 minutes. Cool. Hey, cool. Stop with the sound effects. Good girl. I can feel the tissue is melted some. I'm just going to lean a little inch more pressure in. That's an option, but you don't have to. For the last 30 seconds or so. When shifting weight off. Set this to the side, a little hidden. Come on up to standing. And first off, feel into your footprints. Take a gentle forward fold, knees slightly bent, sticking the booty out slightly as you tip forward. I'm using my hands on my knees to take some of the weight out of my low back. And wow, I have quite a bit more flexion in the hips. You can straighten one knee and bend the other just to see which side. Now it's gone back to my right side being the tighter side, but both sides are so much more flexible that it's amazing. And slowly come up. And take a little stroll around, take a few steps around. Check out how your feet feel. The plantar fascia is what gives us the spring in our step. So when you release the spring, a lot of times the spring is tightly bound. You release the spring and you're able to get more motive force forward and get that additional loosening in the hamstrings, which is really important. That's really important for, in particular, for low back health and mobility. Okay, thanks. Thank you, puppies.